This show is brought to you by Safety FM.
Is it enough for this love I give? I wanna step up to the mark for him. Sometimes the pressure I feel is real. I wanna give in, I wanna give in.
Program is rated MA-LSV. It contains strong language, sexual situations, and violence. It is intended only for mature audiences.
Finally, show with the balls to call it like it is. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Countdown to audio torture.
The Rated R Safety Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Let the eardrum pain begin.
Forget the corporate bullshit. This is the Rated R Safety Show with your host, Dr. It doesn't matter who the host is.
Oh, there you go. It does not matter who the host is. What has always mattered is who the listeners are. Anyways, today is Friday, August the 1st. Of 2025, day 213th of the year, and only 152 days left to go. We are broadcasting from the Safety FM studios in Orlando, Florida, and coming across the multiverse known as Safety FM, and then we are hanging out with our friends and colleagues over there.
Radio Big, streaming 24/7 at radiobig.fm.
Oh, yes, streaming 24/7 at radiobig.fm. Yes, once this show's over, it goes into a multitude of other things over there where, we have the hostess with the mostest hanging out over there doing the things that they get to do. So no doubt there as we are going on. So anyways, it is Friday. So what does that mean? It's Freeform Friday, which means we do a little bit of everything, all the catching up of all the stuff we didn't get to earlier in the week. So don't worry about any of that stuff because we're going to make sure that you're taken care of as we are doing all of the stuff that we are talking about. No doubt about that. So with that being said, how are you? How's the last 24 hours been? Because that's important. It really is. How is it? How are things going for you? Have you taken some time for yourself today? If you haven't, you probably need to do that. It's always a good thing. Really is. So let's go through all kinds of plethora of things because that is what we do around here. So our show consists of safety in the news and safety. We talk a little bit about this. We talk a little bit about that because that's just kind of what we do. Then when that is said and done, we bring in some professional broadcasters. They talk about everything that's going on inside of this multiverse of ours because that is what happens on their end. We bring in some broadcasters from Feature Story News as they go through everything that is happening. So there you go. Anyways, why don't we do this? Why don't we start talking right away about what the hell was trending in the overnight?
Here is what was trending. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so as I take a look at the trends of the ends, notable and noteworthy new credit data shows it's still a tight economy. We'll talk about that. Also, Keanu Reeves gets his watch back, and Miranda Lambert gets cheeky. We'll talk a little bit more about that in show business. Also, an update in the search of the next James Bond, and the Happy Gilmore soundtracks give some songs streaming a boost. I haven't watched the movie yet, meaning the new one, so I don't know what songs they're talking about there. That's for sure. Okay. So with this being said, and that being said, and the other being said, why don't we do this? Let's go through. Let me reference this. Martha Stewart sort of weighs in on the Megan Sussex thing. We'll talk about that in the details inside of the Royals. I forgot to say that, so that's important. Okay. So with that being said, why don't we bring in our friends from Feature Story News, as we are plethora news today in regards of what's going on. So let's go ahead and do that right now.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
From Feature Story News in London, I'm Stuart Smith. US Special Envoy to the Middle East, Steve Witkoff, is visiting Gaza on Friday to inspect food distribution sites and discuss the starvation crisis, as President Trump says the US will work with Israel to get more food into the Strip. Blake Sifton reports from Tel Aviv.
U.S. Special Envoy Steve Witkoff is visiting Gaza on Friday along with Ambassador Mike Huckabee. The White House says they will inspect food distribution sites, work to secure plans for more food delivery, and meet with Palestinians to hear about the hunger situation firsthand. Reports have suggested that they will visit food distribution sites run by the controversial U.S. and Israeli-backed Gaza Humanitarian Foundation. Sites run by the group have been the scene of regular incidents of deadly violence, in which the UN says Palestinians seeking aid have been shot and killed by both Israeli forces and the American military contractors guarding the sites. Blake Sifton, Tel Aviv.
India is reportedly weighing diplomatic steps to appease the White House amid a surprise US announcement of 25% tariffs on Indian goods. Reports suggest New Delhi is exploring import boosts, not retaliation, to keep trade talks alive, but it has vowed to protect its labor-intensive agricultural sector at all costs. Kshitij Nagar reports from New Delhi.
India was caught off guard by President Trump's surprise 25% tariff declaration, according to a report by Bloomberg. Reports claim India is now considering proposals to increase US imports, including energy, electronics and communication equipment, to try and ease bilateral tensions, but has ruled out any immediate retaliatory measures. Opposition parties have criticized the Indian government's handling of the issue in the ongoing parliament session. Rahul Gandhi from India's main opposition party, the Congress, described the situation as a blow to India's broader foreign and economic policy direction. However, India's Commerce Minister Piyush Goyal has said that India will not work on any trade deal that jeopardizes the country's agricultural interests, even as formal talks continue with the US trade officials. US negotiators are expected to arrive in New Delhi in mid-August to continue talks for a mini-trade deal. Kshitij Nagar, New Delhi.
Meanwhile, Pakistan says it's reached a trade deal with the United States. The confirmation comes after US President Donald Trump said that the two countries have signed a deal to jointly develop Pakistan's oil reserves. Hira Mustafa has more.
Pakistan's finance ministry says the agreement includes a reduction in reciprocal tariffs with particular benefits for Pakistani exports. The exact scale of tariff relief has not been made public. Washington has also made no reference to tariffs being part of this deal. But officials in Islamabad claim the US has agreed to ease tariffs against Pakistan in a bid to strengthen ties. However, exact details of the trade deal will remain under wraps for now. Hira Mustafa, Islamabad.
Gold prices are set for a weekly loss as they come under pressure from a stronger US dollar. This is outweighing the impact of the trade uncertainty caused by US tariffs, which have provided support to the precious metal. Rebecca Bunden reports from Mumbai.
On Friday, gold prices were steady at about $3,290 an ounce, but bullion is down by 1.3% for the week. Gold is a safe haven asset, which investors flock to during times of economic uncertainty. This means that the trade uncertainty would normally boost the precious metal. But this week, the stronger US dollar is weighing on prices. Rebecca Bunden, Mumbai.
Taiwan's President Lee Ching-te on Friday called the 20% tariff rate the US slapped on imports from his country temporary and expressed the hope it could be lowered through further talks. After 4 rounds of face-to-face negotiations and multiple video conferences, Taipei and Washington were still trying to strike a deal, as Laura Westbrook reports.
Speaking in Taipei, Taiwan's President Lee Ching-te called the new levy temporary and says it's too early to say it represents a failure. He said the main reason the two countries had failed to reach an agreement by US President Donald Trump's August 1st deadline was that procedural arrangements had not allowed them to complete a summary meeting for the negotiations. He added Taiwan is willing to have more talks, with the final goal being a reasonable rate that has a minimal impact on the electronics industry. Export-dependent Taiwan is a global powerhouse in chip manufacturing, with more than half the world's chips and nearly all of the high-end ones made there. Laura Westbrook, Hong Kong.
To recap the top stories, the US imposed deadline to strike a trade deal with Washington has passed, leaving 90 countries with new and increased tariffs, though largely less severe than President Trump threatened when announcing them in April. And US Special Envoy to the Middle East Steve Witkoff is visiting Gaza on Friday to inspect food distribution sites and discuss the starvation crisis. That's the latest feature story news. Stuart Smith reporting.
This show is almost as enjoyable as hearing the sound of the toilet flush. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
This portion of the show has been sponsored by Private Internet Access, America's #1 virtual private network, or VPN. Even if you use incognito mode, internet service providers is storing your browser data and many times even selling it. But Private Internet Access, or PIA, can help you. PIA encrypts and reroutes your internet traffic through one of its own servers, hiding your data from your internet service provider or network admin. And with servers in over 75 countries, you can get unrestricted access to geo-blocked content from around the world. PIA comes with easy-to-use apps and browsers extension for all devices, a rock-solid privacy policy, open source security, advanced customization settings, and it was just ranked the fastest VPN in the world by PC Magazine. And if you sign up right now with PIA, you can take advantage of a special deal only for Safety FM listeners. Only by using the following link, you can get the digital privacy for less than $2 a month. Yes, you did hear me correctly, less than $2 a month, and an extra 4 months for free. So that means for only $1.98 a month and 83% off, you can get this service for you right now. That's so much more inexpensive than virtually every other VPN on the market. And if you get it right now, you can take PIA's 30-day risk-free challenge. You can try it out for 30 days, see if you like it, and if not, just return it for a full refund. So just go to safetyfm.com/VPN. That's safetyfm.com/VPN to try out the best VPN on the planet completely risk-free. Now remember, safetyfm.com/VPN.
What if everything we thought we knew about safety was just interference? From the host of the Rated R Safety Show and the founder of Safety FM comes the complete signal transmission trilogy, now available in one powerful edition. Safety, in my opinion, the book that started the conversation. Safety Mutation, where the boundaries of culture, systems, and belief begin to break. And now, Safety Transmission, the final piece of the signal. For the first time, all 3 books are together in one volume. The Signal Transmission Trilogy, Complete Edition. This isn't just about compliance. It's about consciousness. It's about decoding the way we think, lead, and live, inside and outside the system. Whether you've been following the signal since the beginning or you're just now tuning in, this is the version to own. Search Signal Trilogy on Amazon or visit safetyfm.com to get your copy now.
If you're anything like me, you have certain tendencies to put things off, such as filing taxes, seeing the doctor, working on that home improvement project that you're supposed to be doing, but you just haven't gotten to it. And while most of the times it works out. The one thing in life that you really cannot afford to wait on is setting up term coverage life insurance. You've probably seen life insurance commercials on TV and thought, yeah, I'll look into it later. Well, the answer is no. This isn't something that you can wait for. Choose life insurance through Ladder today. Ladder is 100% digitals, no doctors, no needles, no paperwork. When you apply for $3 million in coverage or less, just answer a few questions about your health in an application. Ladder's customers rate them 4.8 out of 5 stars on Trustpilot, and they've made Forbes' Best Life Insurance in 2021's list. You just need a few minutes and a phone or a laptop to apply. Ladder's smart algorithm works in real time, so you'll find out if you're instantly approved. No hidden fees, cancel anytime, get full refund if you change your mind in the first 30 days. Ladder policies are issued by insurers with long proven histories of paying claims. They're rated A and A+ by AM Best. Finally, since life insurance costs more as you age, now is the time to cross it off your list. So go to ladder.com/safetyfm today to see if you're instantly approved. That's LADDER life.com/safetyfm. Ladderlife.com/safetyfm.
Safety never sounded so terrible. Rate our safety show.
Well, you might be like me and heard all these terms and were not 100% sure on what they meant. Things as mining, blockchain, the Internet of Things. Well, I will tell you, we here at Safety FM have partnered up with a company that will explain this to you and will also have conversations to inform you on how you might have the potential of making passive income by being involved. All you need to do is go to safetyfm.com/iHub. They'll discuss blockchain. What exactly is mining? What is cryptocurrency? And what is the Internet of Things? To find out more information, go to safetyfm.com/iHub. That's safetyfm.com/iHub. And don't forget to mention that Jay Allen sent you.
Prepare yourself.
We are now being distributed on iHeartRadio. Listen on iHeartRadio app. Radio Big.
Okay, let's go.
Okay, let's go. Let's talk about it. A little bit of things that are going on inside of the world of the multiverse. So it's currently 17 minutes past the top of the hour as we are hanging out and doing our thing. So there you go. Some stuff to always talk about as we are hanging and banging and doing all the fun stuff that we normally get to do. So let's talk about this because it's always an interesting time as we start talking about tariff talk. So let's go ahead and get into it. So much for deadlines. President Trump said on Thursday that he's giving negotiating teams another 90 days to finalize a trade deal with Mexico. He said the extension allows for more time to manage the complexities of the trade relationship. And in the meantime, a 25% tariff on cars and a 50% tariff on steel, aluminum, and copper will remain in effect. After Canada's government announced it intends to recognize Palestine's statehood at the UN later this year, Trump posted on the Truth Social that he will make it very hard for us to make a trade deal with them. Oh, Canada. Let's see. Ontario's government has canceled a contract with Starlink in relations to American tariffs on Canada. They've canceled a deal worth, about $68 million that would brought the high-speed internet to 15,000 homes and businesses in remote areas and provinces. Let's see. What else do we have going on with all this stuff? The appeals court on Thursday heard arguments that Trump's invocation of special powers are unilaterally set to trade terms are not granted by the International Emergency Economic Power Act, and that the U.S. Court of International Trade previously blocked the powers, but a circuit court judge intervened in the meantime, and its appeals court agrees that the case is likely headed to the Supreme Court. So there you go. some stuff to talk about as we are hanging out. So what else do we got going on? Matter of fact, before we get into that, what do you think about all this stuff? A lot of tariff stuff. Definitely a lot of tariffs. So I don't know. What is your general feeling on the economy? Are you feeling the
pinch?
In regards of what's going on? It seems kind of weird when it's all said and done. No doubt there whatsoever. So take a listen to this. Credit Crunch, the numbers of households earning at least $150,000 a year are delinquent on loans that have more than doubled since 2023. A lower income household have also seen overall delinquencies rise through the lesser extent. Those earning between $45,000 a year and $150,000 a year have seen a 60% rise in the delinquencies and a 22% of those earning under $45,000. Economic analyst says that the higher income households typically have bigger cash cushions to absorb inflationary pressures, but years of higher prices have drained those reserves at the time the job market has stalled. This is according to CBS News. I don't know. I mean, I look at this and I go, everything just seems super expensive in regards of what's going on inside of the world. I don't know. I just keep on looking around and going, man, things are super expensive as it's all said and done. A few days ago, I went somewhere. I forgot where it was. I went through a fast food joint. And I remember pretty vividly, something that cost me $5 like 3 years ago was up to $12 in total. I was just like, I just don't get it. But then again, that's how the world goes. And it's always amazing to me on how these things work out. But I'm not going to sit here and bitch and complain. It's not going to do us any good, but it's definitely something to talk about in regards to price point. But it's weird because we're kind of on both sides of the equation. I was listening to some market reports yesterday about how certain companies are letting go employees because an AI can do as much work that an employee can do in a week, in an hour. They don't, and then the reference point was AI doesn't call in sick, AI doesn't ask for a pay raise, AI is consistent. So I thought it was kind of a weird thing. So as prices continue to tick up, jobs are, becoming a little bit more difficult sometimes to find, or, there's some job cuts. Just getting interesting. No doubt about that one.
We at Safety FM are not responsible for what this idiot behind the microphone is saying. He is trying to be entertaining. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, 3 German men have been convicted of their elaborate heist to steal ancient gold coins from the museum in November of 2022. The crooks cut a phone and internet access to the entire city of Manching, so the security personnel could not contact the police during the heist. 4 suspects were arrested last year in connection to the crime. One had a plastic bag containing melted fragments of the coins, about 70 of the 483 that were stolen units that are still missing, while 4 were convicted on the other gang robbery charges. One was acquitted of a specific heist that faces the sentences between 4 years, 9 months, and 11 days. This is according to the Art News. I didn't even know there was an Art News. Makes it pretty interesting when it's all said and done. Okay, what else do we have? A review of weather satellites data has uncovered the history of making lightning bolt that struck 2017, estimated to be 515 miles long. The giant phenomenon was visible from Texas to Missouri, shattering the previous record of 477 miles. Meteorologists call such an enormous lightning bolt, at least 62 miles long, mega flash lightning, and have only recently begun to understand the science behind how they work. A typical bolt of lightning is about, you ready for this? 10 miles. So this one was 515 miles, with the previous record being 477. I guess records are made to be broken or something. Is that how that goes? Anyway, so let's continue talking. A new image of the Siberian ice mummy discovered in 1993 shows the well-preserved body dating back at least 2,500 years, bears intricate tattoos of various animals. The ancient body art includes leopards, a rooster, a stag, and even a hybrid lion-eagle creature. Yes, researchers believe that the mummy is about a 50-year-old woman who belonged to the Parzak people, nomads who reigned in a relatively flat, treeless expanse between China and Europe. While the tattoos are believed to have been commonplace among ancient cultures, few bodies have survived well enough to preserve the practical research. This is according to the BBC. So there you go. There you go. Okay, take a listen to this one. Let's get into the swamp. Or should I say, let's get into the swamp. Anyways, follow up. Kamala Harris has a memoir due out on September the 23rd that will recount her 107-day run for president. It will be called 107 Days, published by Simon & Schuster, and it promises the pace of the page turning novel. So there you go. Another document dump on Thursday includes what should be the smoking gun emails proving that Democrats colluded to lie about President Trump's involvement with Russia. The scheme was not only a hoax designed to smear Trump, but also to take heat off of Hillary Clinton's private email server, which she used to circumvent public records requirements. On July the 27th, 2016, an advisor, George Soros, wrote in an email, Hillary Clinton approved foreign policy advisors Julianne Smith ideas about Trump and Russia hackers hampering the U.S. election that should distract people from her own emails missing. He continues later that Barack Obama and Joe Biden, who at the time were the president and the vice president of the United States, have acknowledged the fact that the intelligence community would speed up searching on evidence of Trump-Russia collusion, and that regrettably still unavailable. To summarize, billionaire leftist George Soros' top lieutenant was in the loop about the president, Barack Obama, pressuring the intelligence community to find evidence to fit the imagined crime, even if the evidence is made up, in order to protect the Democrat Hillary Clinton, who approved making the whole story because she was caught dead to rights breaking the law by conducting official government business on an unsecured email server and wanted people to stop talking about it. But sure, Trump is corrupt, thug. This is all based on what the editor is writing in this. This isn't conjecture. This isn't speculation. This is provable, demonstrable paper trails confirming this is true. If you want to find it out for yourself, have an open mind, search the ghastly Appendix Durham report, and it will be there. According to what the editor of this particular portion of the news story is saying. So there you go. Some stuff to think about.
It's this show, and they just make fun of a whole bunch of people. It's just too funny. It's too stupid.
Rated R Safety Show.
Oh, yes, rated R Safety Show. Some stuff always going on. Okay, so let's talk about the Dow because, you know, the numbers are always important for some people, so we need to talk about it. The Dow fell about 330 points to close at 44,130 on Thursday, and the S&P fell about 23 points to close at 6,339, and the Nasdaq lost about 7 points to close at 21,122. West Texas Intermediate closed at $69 a barrel, and Brent crude was at $71 a barrel. The national average price of a gallon of gas was $3.14 on Thursday. Bitcoin fell on the day, down about over 1% and trading just around 116,500. Tonight's Mega Million drawing will be for a $140 million jackpot or a $62 million cash payout. And Saturday night's Powerball drawing will be for a $410 million jackpot or $184.9 million cash payout. So if you want to play the game, you have the opportunity to do so. Okay, let's talk about three things real quick before we get to the main stuff. Lawyers for Sean Combs have petitioned the judge to completely overturn his conviction of Mann Act charges. They argue that Combs is the only person ever They argue that Combs is the only person ever convicted under the statute who did not make money off of prostitution and did not personally engage in sex with the prostitutes and did not personally arrange the prostitute transportation across the state lines. No witnesses during the trial testified that Combs himself had sex, but that he watched and recorded the acts. The filing follows the bid to get Combs out of prison on bail ahead of his sentencing. So there you go. That's one. In some other news, after getting blasted on social media for lazy singing performances during the last stops of his tour, Justin Timberlake has offered an actual sympathetic explanation. He has Lyme disease. On Instagram, he wrote, "When I first got diagnosed, I was shocked for sure, but at least I could understand why I would be on stage in a massive amount of nerve pain and just feeling crazy fatigue or sickness." He says that he thought about canceling the tour, but he concluded that the joy of performing brings to me outweighs the fleeting stress that my body was feeling. So I'm glad that I kept going. He concluded that I am trying to be more transparent about struggling so that they weren't misinterpreted what was going on. So there you go. Hopefully, things will get better for him and maybe they can manage some of this pain that he is going through. Also, in some other news, a follow-up to 6 of Keanu Reeves' stolen watches were recovered this week by Chilean authorities. The watches were valued at more than $125,000, were stolen from Reeves' Hollywood Hills home in December of 2023. The theft was part of a string of high-profile break-ins in the area at the time. One person has been arrested in connection with what was going on, so that makes it interesting for sure. So some stuff to talk about. Anyways, it is 32 minutes past the top of the hour. Normally at this point, we would be talking about main story stuff, but guess what? It's Freeform Friday. So you know what we do on Freeform Friday? We talk more about the news. Yeah, news.
Here is the news on the Radio R Safety Show.
From Feature Story News in London, I'm Stuart Smith. US Special Envoy to the Middle East, Steve Witkoff, is visiting Gaza on Friday to inspect food distribution sites and discuss the starvation crisis, as President Trump says the US will work with Israel to get more food into the Strip. Blake Sifton reports from Tel Aviv.
U.S. Special Envoy Steve Witkoff is visiting Gaza on Friday along with Ambassador Mike Huckabee. The White House says they will inspect food distribution sites, work to secure plans for more food delivery, and meet with Palestinians to hear about the hunger situation firsthand. Reports have suggested that they will visit food distribution sites run by the controversial U.S. and Israeli-backed Gaza Humanitarian Foundation. Sites run by the group have been the scene of regular incidents of deadly violence in which the UN says Palestinians seeking aid have been shot and killed by both Israeli forces and the American military contractors guarding the sites. Blake Sifton, Tel Aviv.
India is reportedly weighing diplomatic steps to appease the White House amid a surprise US announcement of 25% tariffs on Indian goods. Reports suggest New Delhi is exploring import boosts, not retaliation, to keep trade talks alive, but it has vowed to protect its labor-intensive agricultural sector at all costs. Kshitij Nagar reports from New Delhi.
India was caught off guard by President Trump's surprise 25% tariff declaration, according to a report by Bloomberg. Reports claim India is now considering proposals to increase US imports, including energy, electronics and communication equipment, to try and ease bilateral tensions, but has ruled out any immediate retaliatory measures. Opposition parties have criticized the Indian government's handling of the issue in the ongoing parliament session. Rahul Gandhi from India's main opposition party, the Congress, described the situation as a blow to India's broader foreign and economic policy direction. However, India's Commerce Minister Piyush Goyal has said that India will not work on any trade deal that jeopardizes the country's agricultural interests, even as formal talks continue with the US trade officials. US negotiators are expected to arrive in New Delhi in mid-August to continue talks for a mini trade deal. Kshitij Nagar, New Delhi.
Meanwhile, Pakistan says it's reached a trade deal with the United States. The confirmation comes after US President Donald Trump said that the two countries have signed a deal to jointly develop Pakistan's oil reserves. Hira Mustafa has more.
Pakistan's finance ministry says the agreement includes a reduction in reciprocal tariffs with particular benefits for Pakistani exports. The exact scale of tariff relief has not been made public. Washington has also made no reference to tariffs being part of this deal. But officials in Islamabad claim the US has agreed to ease tariffs against Pakistan in a bid to strengthen ties. However, exact details of the trade deal will remain under wraps for now. Hira Mustafa, Islamabad.
Gold prices are set for a weekly loss as they come under pressure from a stronger US dollar. This is outweighing the impact of the trade uncertainty caused by US tariffs, which have provided support to the precious metal. Rebecca Bunden reports from Mumbai.
On Friday, gold prices were steady at about $3,290 an ounce, but bullion is down by 1.3% for the week. Gold is a safe haven asset, which investors flock to during times of economic uncertainty. This means that the trade uncertainty would normally boost the precious metal, but this week the stronger US dollar is weighing on prices. Rebecca Bunden, Mumbai.
Taiwan's President Lee Ching-te on Friday called the 20% tariff rate the US slapped on imports from his country temporary and expressed the hope it could be lowered through further talks. After 4 rounds of face-to-face negotiations and multiple video conferences, Taipei and Washington were still trying to strike a deal, as Laura Westbrook reports.
Speaking in Taipei, Taiwan's President Lee Ching-te calls the new levy temporary and says it's too early to say it represents a failure. He said the main reason the two countries had failed to reach an agreement by US President Donald Trump's August 1st deadline was that procedural arrangements had not allowed them to complete a summary meeting for the negotiations. He added Taiwan is willing to have more talks, with the final goal being a reasonable rate that has a minimal impact on the electronics industry. Export-dependent Taiwan is a global powerhouse in chip manufacturing, with more than half the world's chips and nearly all of the high-end ones made there. Laura Westbrook, Hong Kong.
To recap the top stories, the US imposed deadline to strike a trade deal with Washington has passed, leaving 90 countries with new and increased tariffs, though largely less severe than President Trump threatened when announcing them in April. And US Special Envoy to the Middle East Steve Witkoff is visiting Gaza on Friday to inspect food distribution sites and discuss the starvation crisis. That's the latest feature story news. Stuart Smith reporting.
Own risk. Rated R Safety Show.
In safety, in my opinion, you woke up. You saw the system, the simulation, the structure that trained you to mistake compliance for care. Safety mutation. Information misdirection picks up where the signal fractured. Because the system didn't shut you down, it rebranded you. It packaged your voice, sold your rebellion as a new initiative, and smiled while doing it. This isn't a manual. It's a decoded transmission about what happens when slogans replace stories, when safety becomes marketing, and when truth gets mirrored so perfectly, you forget it was ever yours. You'll see the mutation. Learning teams turned into theater, zero harm turned into optics, and feedback turned into formatting. But the signal didn't die. It was redirected. Safety Mutation is Book 2 of the Signal Transmission Trilogy. Available now in print, Kindle, and audiobook. Narrated by the author J. Allen, Ph.D. Because the system adapted. Now it's your move.
It's always amazing to me on how technology changes, and so does the environment that we're in. And cyber criminals will do everything they can to take advantage of a system. If you don't own a home, you have nothing to fear about what I'm about to tell you. But if you own a home like me and you don't guard it with home title lock, you're inviting home title fraud. One of the fastest growing crimes. Cyber thieves around the world know Our home values are sky high at the moment, and that makes us a target. The crime is scary simple. Let me explain it to you real quick. A cyber thief simply forges your name on a property sale form and refiles it. That's it. Now he or she is on the deed of your home and you have no idea that you're a victim. Then the person takes out a loan on your home and vanishes, leaving you to prove to the police that you didn't commit bank fraud. Home Title Locks puts a virtual barrier around your home title. The instant they detect any kind of tampering or anybody messing around, they help shut it down. Look, if you have equity in your home, you need to guard it the best way that you can. Some people might even go as far as guarding it with their life. Go to HometitleLock.com and register your address to see if you already are a victim. And enter the code RADIO. That's RADIO. That's the code RADIO for 30 days free of protection. That's code RADIO at HometitleLock.com.
Is your safety training old, stale, and hacked? Is your safety trainer still preaching a warped version of behavior-based safety? How about safety training that actually addresses your hazards in your workplaces and is not standardized baloney from 25 years ago? Contact the Safety Wars team at safetywars.com or call Jim Posel at 845-269-5772. Remember, if you're receiving this message, you are the solution to unsafe workplaces.
So do you feel like you're missing out on what everyone is starting to do now, that live streaming thing, and you don't know where to start or what to do? I have the resource and the information to provide to you in regards on how you can stream onto 40 social media platforms all at one time. Yes, that's 40 social media platforms all at one time. All you'll need to do is go to safetyfm.com/1. That's safetyfm.com/1. That's ONE. So just in case, and you'll be able to start live streaming just like you're hearing people starting to do right now, up to 40 social media platforms. Duh. I know you all want to hit your revenue targets and get the launch done. Well, making sure that your team knows what to do and how to do it is a huge part of it. So I'm sure that you all do different kinds of training, and I'm willing to bet that you probably use PowerPoint, Zoom, etc. I also bet that when you get someone droning on about a topic using these tools, you probably zone out. And your team does too. I mean, it is a reality of what happens. That's why I strongly recommend a tool called Articulate 360. That makes it so easy to whip together interactive, really beautiful e-learnings that really engages people and gets info across. You can create short-form micro-learning, super interactive courses, and really whatever you need when you're in their site. Then with a couple of clicks, you can send it out and check on it and see the progress of your team. Your team can also check back on the training anytime they want in a super simple portal. Literally everyone uses Articulate. Over 120,000 companies and all 100 Fortune 100 companies. Check it out at articulate.com/360 to start a free trial. That's articulate.com/360 to start your free trial. And don't forget to tell them that I was the one that sent you there.
Some of the best things in life come to those who wait, but we ain't waiting for shit. Radio Big.
Down to pressure I feel it's real. I wanna give in. I wanna give in. I'll give you the light when they're taken down. I'll be your guide on those days when you can't find your way home.
Okay, here we are, still hanging out on the Rated R Safety Show. It is 44 minutes past the top of the hour, and we are still doing our thing. This right here is you're taking a listen to Sydney Bryce. Hand in Hand. Songs readily available on Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube Music, and Apple Music. So there you go. Might want to give it a little streamer-eamer action. We would like to thank Sydney Bryce for allowing us to play this here on the Rated R Safety Show. Yeah, you know, always like to do some musica your general direction. So there you go. Thank you. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into the move and the groove of the things that are going on inside of the multiverse. But before we get into that, let's talk about the most important thing that I will ever tell you in my lifetime, and that's about my friends at To Write Love on Her Arms. No matter what you're facing, you deserve to be connected to help, and the people at To Write Love on Her Arms want you to know that people have been where you are now, and things can get better. Healing is possible. To find out more information, all you have to do is go to TWLOHA.com. That's TWLOHA.com and click on the section that says Find Help. Once you get there, there'll be information related to addiction, depression, anxiety, eating disorder, self-injury, suicide, trauma, grief support, just to name a few. That's TWLOHA.com and click on the section that says Find Help. Okay, let's continue talking about what's going on this lovely Friday. Some new movies coming your way. In case you did not know, The Naked Gun, PG-13 comedy action following in the footsteps of his bumbling father, Detective Frank Debrin Jr., must prove that only one man has a particular set of skills to lead the police squad. Liam Neeson and Pamela Anderson, that comes out today. Also together, Rated R. It actually opened up on Wednesday, but we'll talk about it now. Tim and Millie find themselves in a relationship crossroads as they move to the country, abandoning all that's familiar except each other. With tensions already flaring, a nightmarish encounter with a mysterious, unnatural force threatens to corrupt their lives, their loves, and their flesh. Dave Franco and Allison Brie. That comes out today, Rated R, sci-fi horror movie. And Allison Brie and Dave Franco are married, so I'm sure it's in real life. So I'm sure it's going to be an interesting one, just to say a few. And what else is going on? Yeah, The Bad Guys, that comes out today. The Bad Guys Part 2 is a PG kids family movie. The non-reformed bad guys are trying to be good, but instead they find themselves hijacked into a high-stakes globe-trotting heist masterminded by a new team of criminals they never saw coming. The Bad Girls. So there you go. So that comes out today. Awesome stuff going on inside of the world. Okay, so let's talk about some other things, because that's what we do around here. We talk a little bit about this, we talk a little bit about that, and then we talk a little bit about the other. Because what else would we do? I mean, come on. So just all kinds of stuff going on. So let's do this. Should we talk about, I don't really know if I want to do celebrity stuff. I really just want to talk about something else. Music news we'll save for hour 2. Let's talk about this. New food news. Kraft Mac and Cheese is combining 2 comfort food classics into one box with the release of its new limited edition pizza flavor. If you can't believe it hitting the shelves just in time for back-to-school season, a new variety blends Kraft's signature creamy noodles with bold tomato, garlic, and Italian herb flavors, reminiscent of a classic pizza slice. The following previously launched like everything bagel and a smoky barbecue. This later choice adds a nostalgic, savory kick to the iconic blue box. Early tasters say that the pizza-inspired mac and cheese on both aroma and flavor, making it a must-try to fans of the cheesy, carb-filled comfort food. I only have one question. Is ketchup appropriate for this? I'm just asking. So there you go. Also, a new Australian study suggests that reaching for a diet soda might come with an unexpected health risk. Researchers found that drinking just one artificial sweetened soft drink daily, like Diet Coke or Pepsi Max, can increase your risk of developing type 2 diabetes by 38%. And weirdly, that's even higher than the 50% risk of a full sugar sodas. The 14-year study tracked over 36,000 adults that revealed that both sugar and artificial sweeteners drinks were linked to a significant greater risk. Experts say that finding challenges that the idea of diet drinks are a safer choice. This is precisely why my drinks with minimal amount of mix. So I don't know, some stuff to think about. Kind of weird when you start thinking about all that stuff. But hey, it's kind of a weird time when it's all said and done. Why don't we talk about something a little bit more positive? Let's go ahead and bring our friend in, John Small, and let him talk a little bit about what the hell's going on with the Motivation Minute.
The Motivation Minute, courtesy of GenesisGoldIRA.com and JaceCaseMedical.com.
The Motivation Minute.
Today's quote was submitted by Sandy. Ayn Rand said, "The question isn't who's going to let me, it's who's going to stop me." What a great quote. I feel like I've been there before. I actually had a similar conversation with somebody about a week ago. It was about an event that I help plan each and every year. He was asking who we needed to visit with to get permission to do some of the things we do at the event. I said, "I've never asked for permission, we just do it." He was amazed at that. But then I let him know that, we don't have a typical committee that needs to vote on things. We just plan things, we find a way to pay for them, and then we do what we planned. It really is way more efficient than the way I've seen many others do things.
The Motivation Minute.
The Motivation Minute, courtesy of GenesisGoldIRA.com and JaceCaseMedical.com. I'm John Small. Thanks for listening. Your favorite motivational quotes can be submitted for upcoming programs at motivationminute.org.
Hello, I'm Richard Exley with your 1-minute devotion. Albert Dürer and Franz Neitstein were starving artists. In desperation, they decided to cast lots. The winner would go to art school, and the other would continue working to support him. Albright won the toss and became a famous artist. Franz ruined his hands doing hard manual labor. He forfeited his own artistic future out of loyalty to his friend. One day, Albright found Franz on his knees, his gnarled hands clasped in prayer. Hurriedly, he sketched the moment and produced his famous etching, Praying Hands. Lord Jesus, help me to be willing to sacrifice my goals to help my friend accomplish his. In your holy name I pray. Amen. If these devotions are a blessing and an encouragement to you, you can subscribe at oneminutedevotion.com.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
Protests in eastern Yemen escalated for the third day as residents demanded solutions to prolonged power outages during extreme heat.
The demonstrations have disrupted local commerce and transportation in the region. At least 22 people died in related violence in Angola this week, with over 1,200 arrests reported. Authorities are struggling to restore order as public frustration grows. International aid groups are calling for urgent humanitarian support to address the crisis. Benjamin Wright reporting.
A Virginia city councilman survived an attempted murder after being set on fire in an apparent personal attack.
A 29-year-old suspect was arrested and charged following the incident. The victim sustained serious injuries but is receiving medical treatment. Police are investigating the motive behind the attack. The community has expressed shock and is rallying for increased public safety measures. Jessica Oakley reporting.
The U.S. Treasury Department imposed sanctions on Brazil Supreme Court Justice Alexandre de Moraes, escalating diplomatic tensions.
The move follows disputes over judicial actions linked to former President Bolsonaro. The sanctions aim to address perceived overreach in Brazil's legal system. The Trump administration also announced tariffs on Brazilian goods. Both nations are navigating the fallout as trade relations face uncertainty. Kyle Norris reporting.
A Canadian man pleaded not guilty to the murder of his 9-year-old daughter during a vacation in upstate New York.
The incident has drawn significant attention due to its tragic nature. Authorities are conducting a thorough investigation into the circumstances of the girl's death. The case has raised cross-border legal questions. A trial date is expected to be set soon. Liam White reporting.
Former NBA star Gilbert Arenas faces federal charges for allegedly operating an illegal gambling ring from his California home.
5 others were indicted in connection with the operation. The investigation uncovered evidence of significant financial transactions linked to the gambling activities. Arenas, once a prominent athlete, is now under intense scrutiny. Legal proceedings are expected to begin shortly. Kevin Sanders reporting.
A New York City police officer killed in a Midtown Manhattan shooting, was honored at a Bronx funeral and posthumously promoted to detective first grade.
The officer, Didarul Islam, was remembered for his dedication to public safety. The suspect, linked to the Park Avenue shooting, remains under investigation. A building cleaner narrowly escaped the same incident unharmed. The city is mourning while pushing for stronger gun control measures. Lawrence Keller reporting.
A Canadian man was arrested in New York City after allegedly attempting to smuggle 100 pounds of cocaine across the border.
The drugs were discovered hidden in a vehicle during a routine inspection at a northern border crossing. Authorities reported the cocaine had an estimated street value of several $1 million. The suspect faces federal drug trafficking charges. The investigation is ongoing to determine connections to broader smuggling networks. Chris Anderson reporting.
And that's the latest news headlines with Alan Edwards.
More hits to help you work. Because to get rich, you gotta work hard.
Yeah, dude, look, I just made so much money that I could just sit around on my ass all day and play video games.
Wait, I forgot about Dogecoin.
Dogecoin rules!
Yeah, Dogecoin rules. That's what it sounds like. Anyways, let's talk about some things that happened back on this date. Back in 2021, Dr. Anthony Fauci says things are going to get worse as cases of COVID-19 double in 10 days. The surge in cases is due to the Delta variant. Also on this day, the U.S. passes 35 million cases of the virus, and California becomes the first state to hit 4 million cases. That happened back on this date in 2021. If you're talking about some days of the year to celebrate, I have some of those for you. Or do we want to talk about birthdays first? Yeah, let's talk about days of the year to celebrate. International Beer Day, National Girlfriend Day, Colorado Day, and World Lung Cancer Day. So there you go. If you're looking for some birthdays, let's do that. Let's see. Leon Thomas III, 32. Jack O'Connell, 35. Max Carver, 37. Amelia Rose Blair turns 38. Elijah Kelly, 39. Jason Momoa turns 46. Devon Dudley, 53. David Wan, 56. Sam Mendes, the director, just in case, turns 60. Adam Duritz turns 61. John Carroll Lynch, 62. Ed Glipsy turns 64. And Joe Elliott turns 66 today, just in case you were wondering. Okay, what else? If you need a rando-ando for today, here's a random one. The only difference between me and Superman is this. He has supervision. I require supervision. Get it? Okay, if you need a phone starter for today, try this. If you had an extra $100 to spend on yourself every week and you had to spend it, what would you do? If you need a question for the water cooler, try this. Doing this before a meal makes you eat 25% more. What is it? Drinking wine. So there you go. Anyways, that's going to pretty much sum it up. So before I forget, let me tell you about Conklin Conference coming up September the 9th through the 11th of 2025 in Santa Fe, New Mexico. Would love to see you there. There's a QR code on the screen. If you scan it, it will take you directly into more information about the event. If you want to hear more information about the event, you can go to safetyfm.com and click on the section that says live event. But when you go there, you'll have the opportunity to hang out with Todd Conklin, Martha Acosta, Bob Edwards, Jennifer T. Long, Andrea Baker, Mark Yeston, and yours truly, just to say a few. So we'll hang out, talk about the world of human and organizational performance. Would love to see you there. Anyways, thank you for always being the best part of Safety FM and Radio Big, and that is the listener, because without you, it makes no sense to do what we do around here. Top of the hour, I'll be going over to radiobig.fm if you want to come and hang out for the next couple hours or so. If not, you can hang out here with the likes of Sheldon Primus as he talks about the world of safety consulting. If I can leave you with a deep message for today, it would be this. Optimism is a happiness magnet. If you stay positive, good things and good people will be drawn to you. Anyways, I know who you are. You know who I am. Love you, mean it, and goodbye.
The views and opinions expressed during this broadcast, podcast, or radio show are solely those of the host and guests and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of Safety FM and/or Radio Big. The content discussed, including examples of analysis, is provided for illustrative purposes only. It should not be applied as the sole solution in real-world scenarios, as it is based on limited and dated open source information. Any assumptions made during this broadcast, podcast, or radio show are not reflective of Safety FM and/or Radio Big. No portion of this broadcast, podcast, or radio show may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means, electronic, mechanical, recording, or otherwise, without prior written permission of Safety FM and/or Radio Big. For permission requests, please contact Safety FM or Radio Big directly.